right, folks, it is Sunday, November 19th, 2023. And it is, I got to get my chair lined up here. Anyway, so November 19th, Thanksgiving's coming up very quickly here. So you might be watching me on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or LinkedIn, hopefully YouTube. If you are watching me on YouTube, just like and subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when we are coming on live here. And on TikTok, I'm going to line this up here. And if you want to watch us on TikTok, we're going to be simultaneously broadcasting live on TikTok. Welcome everybody who has joined. Anybody who's been here before understands, hopefully, how this all works. We are DPF guys. We collect all of the DPF related questions that we get throughout the week, and then we answer them here. Sometimes it's 10 questions, sometimes it's 6. I think we got the 5 or 6 questions this week. We'll keep it brief. We're going to run through everything on YouTube right now. And of course, if you have any questions, please fire them in. Our giveaway for this week is going to be a DPF Guys hat to one lucky viewer. So how to win this hat, you need to text us at 404-999-1361 with your address, and I will pick somebody and we'll ship a hat out to you tomorrow. It'll come UPS, so just make sure we've got something that can be shipped to via UPS. And this is only available to people in the U.S. We currently don't ship out of the country, but if you're in the United States and want to get a DPF Guys hat, text the word hat to 404-999-1361. And that's for anybody on any channel. We want to be giving away more stuff as we go. So I think that takes care of all of the random housekeeping. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are DPF Guys based in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. We focus 100% on diesel after treatment. We're not a tire store. We don't do radiators. We don't do regular truck maintenance. We just focus on the after treatment. So anything with the diesel engine and emission systems, most of our customers are truck drivers and fleets, but we also service after treatment for off-road equipment. I'm going to be talking about a little mini excavator and a couple other things today. So diesel passenger vehicles, the Ford F-150s, 250s, 350s, the Ram 1500s, 2500s, 3500s, Sprinter vans, BMWs, Mercedes, anything with a DPF there, we work on those. And of course, stuff that even doesn't move, like generators, rock crushers, water pumps, etc., and more. If it has a DPF, we can clean it. And how it works is if we can't clean it for whatever reason, because it's melted or cracked or whatever it is, guess what? We don't charge you. So, it's not always the best news to find out that your DPF can't be cleaned, but at least we do not add insult to injury by charging you on top of what we have to pay to get a new one. By the way, we do sell new ones and refurbished ones, etc. Point being, 404-999-1361 is our number. Definitely text us first. If you want a hat, just text the word hat to that number, and we will be picking one lucky winner. But point being is, if it has DPF, we can clean it. Disclaimer: you should always talk to your mechanic about any concerns you have with your engine or truck, and any pricing discussed here may or may not apply to you and should only be used as a guideline and is not any form of official quote for any services by DPF Guys or anybody else in the world, in the solar system, in the galaxy. So keep that in mind. And if you want an official quote, let us know. We'll get you one. So question number 1. Let me pull this up here. Question number 1. Boom. How much for a DPF box for a Freightliner Cascadia 2015? I think they're asking about how much for a one box. I'm assuming they're asking about replacing it. First off, if you have a 2015 Cascadia, and I mean that vintage, if someone says, hey, I've got a 2014, 2016, it's going to be late model 2014, all of 2015, early model 2016, and you're having one box issues, I hate to tell you this, it's almost 100% certain that you're going to need a new one box. This is for the 2015s. The symptoms that you'll be seeing are that your truck will run like a champ if it's bobtail or lightly loaded on a flat road. But the second you've got some weight in the back, 40,000 pounds, 50,000 pounds, whatever you guys are tugging around, and you head up a grade and you start getting DEF quality codes or SCR efficiency or NOx conversion codes, and you need to regen the truck to get it out of D-rate, you're almost guaranteed to have an issue with the one box that requires the replacement of the one box. Fact is, the 2015 vintage Cascadias with one boxes almost always have failed SCRs, and there is nothing you can do to fix it other than replacing the one box itself. I'm sorry to tell you that. It's always a bummer to tell someone that. Um, but uh, so if you have a 2015 Freightliner and need a new one box, welcome to the club. Pricing for an OEM one box with filters and a 1-year warranty will be around 13 grand, and an aftermarket one box with filters and a 3-year warranty will be around $9,000. Now, again, it might be 8,700, might be 9,200, and that's what we would call a fully loaded one box, meaning it's got the filters and everything in it. I don't really like putting the old filters back in a new one box. I think you're asking for trouble. It's good to replace them, and if the SCRs are damaged, it's almost certain that your DPFs are either visibly cracked or cracked inside, so they're going to cause some issues down the road. So I would definitely recommend a fully loaded one box. Fully loaded means it's got filters, clamps, gaskets, the whole shebang, but it does not have any of the sensors or the whatchamacallit, the harness that goes on the one box. So the temp sensors are fairly inexpensive. I normally would recommend replacing those because the labor it takes to get them out, because they're usually rusted in, will cost more than the sensors themselves. It's a good idea to replace those. It is likely that when you were struggling with these codes on your truck, you've probably replaced both the inlet and outlet NOx sensors. If those are relatively new, might as well just move them from the old box to the new one. And you may just want to buy all new sensors to go with the new one box. And I would recommend replacing the harness, because that harness is strapped to the one box, and that thing's been getting hot and cold, and it can get a little crusty over time, a little brittle. I personally get a little crusty over time myself. And what happens is when you take that harness off the old one box and move it to the new one, very often the wires will be brittle, and the insulation will crack, and you can have electrical issues because of the harness. It can be wise to replace that harness. I can't give you an exact number because people are going to say, how much will it cost for all the sensors and everything? I would probably say around 2 grand to get all new sensors and a new harness as well. And like anything, there's no free lunch. So if you're like, hey, I really want to use this sensor off the old one box, and the mechanic has to wrench on that thing for an hour to get it out, it would have been cheaper to just get a new sensor in there. Anyway, so 13,000 for aftermarket one box with filters. But I mean, 13,000 for an OEM one box with filters in it, and a 1-year warranty, or 9,000 for an aftermarket. I've had very good luck with the aftermarket parts, and if I had to replace my own one box for any reason, I would not hesitate to go with aftermarket. So there you go. All right, what do we have? Oh, and if you have any questions, please drop them in. Anybody who would like to have a chance to win one of these super cool DPF Guys hats, just text the word hat, spelled HAT, to 404-999-1361, and we will pick a winner and send a hat out next week. So question number 2. This is about a medium duty truck, a Duramax. And what is the cost and turnaround time to clean the filter on a Duramax? So the Duramax would qualify as medium duty. It would be kind of in the same lines as a Ford F-350, 450, a Ram 2500, 3500. And it's actually a really good DPF system. I wasn't so sure about that the first time I saw it, but it actually is pretty solid. It's pretty durable, lasts a long time, and it can be cleaned. But the Duramax, for whatever reason, has one of the longest contiguous DPF filter assemblies I've seen on any truck. That baby is almost 13 feet long and can be difficult to transport if you don't cut the pipes off of it. And by cut the pipes off of it, the DPF assembly is only maybe 2-3 feet long, but it's got 10 feet of pipe coming off of either end of that thing, and so it ends up being a monster to haul. So what I would recommend doing, if you feel adventurous, instead of pulling that whole thing off and trying to ship it to us, which would be a nightmare, or bring it to us, which can be a bit of a challenge, you can just carefully cut the 4-inch exhaust pipes, leaving enough to flange and re-weld, and then just get us the DPF assembly, and then we can take it from there. So once the filter assembly is carefully cut, it can be cleaned like any other filter, and it can usually be done for a flat fee of about $750. That's for the DPF and DOC. And for some reason, if you do need the SCR, want to get the SCR clean, the SCR is the selective catalytic reducer. That's the part that works with your DEF. Um, it's an additional $225 for the SCR cleaning. Now, normally you do not need to clean your SCR though, but some people want to get it done since they're getting that done. So $750 to do the DPF and DOC. And if you need the SCR done as well, it's an additional $225. And if I can do the math in my head, that looks like about $975 and takes 24 hours. So in a nutshell, cleaning a Duramax takes 24 hours, costs about $750 for the DPF and DOC, an additional $225 if you so desire to get the SCR cleaned as well. All right. TikTok, what'd you think of that? Again, YouTubers, if you want to jump over to TikTok and watch us live, you certainly may. I'm going to get much more in depth in answering some questions here. I'm going to quick jump over, see if I have any chat questions in here. I got one that came in here. Let's show this one. Are Dynex one boxes any good? And thank you for leaving that question. I just tell you what, Poe, if you win yourself a hat for asking a good question. So to answer the question there, yes, they're very good. I've been working a lot with Dynex over the last couple of years, but much more regularly over the last few months. And I've been very, very pleased with the company itself. And the one boxes are excellent. I've had very good luck with them. They've been easy to put on. They fit really well. So that's what we have chosen to sell. So we stand behind them because we've got to stand behind the warranty. And I don't want to stand behind something that's a crappy product, obviously, because that can be a real pain in the butt for everybody. So, Poe, to answer your question, yes, the Dynex One boxes are excellent. We do have them. And if you have any questions about them, please feel free to drop us a text or a message, 404-999-1361. Love it. Love the question. Okay. What do we have here? We got number 3. So I've got a Takeuchi TB260 excavator. Can I get the filter cleaned? How much does it cost? How long does it take? First off, shout out to Takeuchi. Great unit. And whether you have their excavator, track loader, wheel loader, etc., we can clean any of the DOC and DPF after treatment systems they have installed. Normally, we can do a Takeuchi system for $125 for the DOC and $295 for the DPF. Now, people often ask, do I need to get the DOC cleaned? And it's fairly typical in our industry to just do the DPFs, but we have found that getting the DOC cleaned is very smart, because for every 10 grams of soot and ash built up in the DPF, there'll be, every 100 grams in the DPF, there'll be 10%, 10 grams in the DOC. Even though the DOC is not designed to actually catch anything, it does build up, and the soot and ash can face plug that DOC. And also keep in mind that once we get that DPF cleaned, everything's going to be breathing really well. And guess what happens? The exhaust will, if the DOC decides to release some of the stuff that's built up in there, guess where it's going to go? Right into the DPF. And if that happens, that just means that you need to clean your DPF more often. So yes, we do want to get them both clean. You'll have the best results if you get them done together. So $125 for the DOC, $295 for the DPF, plus around $75 plus or minus for disassembly on the Takeuchi. They're held together with a whole bunch of bolts, so we need to take those apart. And sometimes they can be a bit rusty, a bit of pain in the butt. So there may be some charges for any bolts or nuts needed to complete the work if things are rusty. But we can usually get you in and out for around $500 plus or minus, and get it done in 24 hours. So the answer is, for your Takeuchi question, around $500, 24 hours for a Takeuchi, but this would also apply to a Kubota or any other similar small equipment such as bobcats, concrete saws, etc. I hope that helps. Let me quick check to see if we got another question here. I do not. Of course, you can always leave your questions down below or next to me or wherever it happens to be, and I will watch those and answer them in an upcoming manner. And of course, you can always text a question over to us at 404-999-1361. All right, this is a very typical question again. I get quite frequently. And I think people ask it, sincerely. They're like going, what are my options here? So the question is, what's your opinion on just deleting all emissions? Well, first off, what's your opinion about breaking a federal law and facing a $7,500 fine for a private vehicle, or tens or even hundreds of thousands in fines if your vehicle is used commercially? Also, if you're lucky, your delete won't damage the engine, but not everybody is lucky. And statistically, more than half the deletes result in serious damage to the vehicle, which cannot be repaired by the dealership unless you reverse the delete. So watch out for that. If you do have a delete that actually does work and does not blow up your turbo or engine, you will void every single warranty on the truck, even warranties not on anything related to the exhaust system itself. So, for example, this is actually a true story. One of my friends had a deleted truck, and he had a recall for his transmission. So if you have a transmission failure that would normally be covered under warranty, you are out of luck until you undo the delete. Out of luck until you undo the delete. So you went to the dealership and they're like, "Yep, 100% covered." Um, oh, we see you have a delete, so you have to fix your delete. You have to undelete your truck before we're going to fix your transmission. And undeleting the truck would have been, almost $14,000. So guess what he had to do? He had to pay for the $7,000 transmission repair out of his own pocket. So there's no free lunch, and these deletes can cost you far more than you could ever imagine. So you cannot get service at the dealership anywhere, and some dealerships will even rat you out to the EPA, and your truck will end up impounded until you pay to undelete everything. Cannot trade your truck in, cannot legally sell a deleted truck. Even if the buyer is aware that it's deleted and you sell it to them, you could still sell it, of course, but if that buyer or any other buyer in the future, even 3 buyers after you sell your truck, gets pinched in the future, guess what? They will come after you as the owner who did the delete, and you'll get fined. You will get fined. Absolutely, you'll get fined. They'll get a fine too, but it'll be much less, and you will be required to fix the issue or take the truck back and give back the original buyer's money. So my opinion on deletes is just the opposite of the Nike slogan. Just don't do it. Of course, if you're determined to delete because rolling coal makes you feel more manly or something, then that's on you. And that's totally your choice if you understand the consequences and everything. But I never, ever recommend a delete. P.S. If you're having DPF issues, the cause is almost always never the DPF, but something in your engine causing the problem. So if you delete a DPF, because you're having DPF issues, "Oh, my DPF is giving me so much trouble, I'm just gonna delete it." People don't realize that 80 to 90% of those DPF issues are the result of something going on in your engine. Turbo failure, wastegate, turbo wastegate issues, injectors, low compression, valves. Um, and while deleting that DPF system might fix the symptom temporarily, the problem's still there. And if it's going to damage your truck, it's going to damage your truck and catch up on you. That's like saying, "Oh, my oil light is on. I'm just going to unplug the sensor." Well, guess what? The oil light was on for a reason. I hope that helps. All right. Number 5. This is an interesting question. So, do you notice any difference when cleaning DPFs if the truck has an automatic or manual transmission for over the road trucks? And honestly, I've not noticed any differences between manual or automatic transmissions. However, I really haven't paid much attention, but I'm going to start tracking that. I would say that if a manual driver, manual transmission driver, paid more attention to their truck than an automatic transmission driver, maybe there would be a difference. But the biggest difference between trucks is how well the trucks are maintained. Maintenance is the key to success, and lack of maintenance is the key to failure. And just remember, if you don't schedule your maintenance, believe me, the truck will plan it for you. And your truck has a sick sense of humor for when it decides to break down. That truck will never break down the road from the shop. it's always up in the mountains someplace where you can listen to the soothing sounds of banjos while you wait for the tow truck with a $1,000 tow bill to come, or the roadside mechanic who will just charge you $1,500 to do a forced regen and then disappear over the hill into the night, and you're no better off. So I don't know which of the two would actually uh, have more or fewer DPF issues, but I would say the biggest deciding factor would be if you had a manual transmission truck and a driver who paid attention to his asset, understanding that maintenance is key, it's going to last a lot longer across the board. I mean, everything from brakes to the after treatment are going to be more reliable for that driver because they pay attention to their maintenance than somebody who's got an automatic transmission who does not pay attention to their maintenance, or vice versa. An automatic person who really takes good care of the truck is going to have much better luck with everything on that truck, including the DPF system, than somebody who just flies on a wing and a prayer and doesn't maintain their stuff. All right, number 6, and I'm gonna keep this brief. Of course, you folks on TikTok, I'm gonna be spinning around here in my desk and focusing on you and answering your questions as they come in. Um, I got a good one here. Can I clean my DPF with an air compressor? Hold that thought, Winnie. I'll get to you in a minute. So question number 6, I hope you can answer. Mine has regen 4 times on a 184-mile trip, 154,000 miles on original DPF. Would it be full of ash by now? So, no matter what you got, whether it's big or small, if you've had to regen that thing multiple times in just a very short amount of time, it's telling you that it's plugged up and it's telling you it needs to be cleaned. And eventually the regen will stop working and you'll be derated. You won't have any choice. So you want to get this thing taken care of as quickly as you can so you don't have to worry about it. Maybe with the holidays coming up, the truck will be down for a few days. It would be good to get that done. So if you have done 4 regens in 184 miles, your DPF is plugged up, and pretty soon it won't regen again, and you will be derated and stuck on the side of the road. So yes, it will be full of ash and also soot because the soot's going to be building up as well. Be careful because that soot will work its way back into your turbo and really cause some serious damage if you don't take care of it. So get it cleaned and you will be good to go. So there you have it. That was a quick one. I kind of like when they go quick like that. Your questions, my answers. Thank you for everybody for watching, and please leave your questions and comments below or text your questions directly to us at 404-999-1361. And I'll be back here next week to answer more of your questions. And remember, subscribe to the DPF Guys YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, find us on TikTok, and if you're the corporate type, look for me, James Wendt from DPF Guys on LinkedIn, and send me a connection request. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Okay, TikTokers, I'm going to be talking to you in a minute. I got to hit one thing up here. I'm going to check to see if anybody else has left me a message, and they have not. So now it is time for me to say